don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So while Mr. Bentley and Ian are out on the WALKs, I thought I'd sit down and have a play with my two new stencils, and also I've dusted off some of my Distress Oxide Sprays to have a play with because I haven't used them in absolutely ages. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I'll turn over to my overhead camera and show you what I'm going to do. So these are my two new stencils. So on the right here we have Bamboozle, and on the left here we have Matrix. Now I've just taped them down to my craft mat because I'm going to be obviously using them in a project and I don't want them to move. So that's why I've just taped those down like that for the moment. Now I'm also going to be using some of these. I've still got tons and tons and tons of the paper dolls left, but I've also got lots of offcuts, and I mean lots of offcuts of watercolour cardstock, all leftovers, if you like, from previous projects which I want to use up as well. So I'm going to create some little cards. I've got some pre-bought A2 craft card blanks and some envelopes. So I say A2, they're Euro A6 size, so they're half A4 when quarter A4 when folded. There you go, you get it right. So that way. So they will measure in euros, in millimeters, so they're 105 by 148. So these have been stuck in my stash for absolutely ages, so I thought I might as well use them up. And I've also cut some black cardstock just to create a kind of nice frame all the way around the white cardstock, which leaves a little bit of space at the bottom to add a little bit of decoration if I so wish. So that's all those. So what I'm going to do is, just for the time being, because I want to use, like I said, the Distress Oxides, which I haven't used for absolutely ages and ages and ages. So before I started the camera, I had to sit and shake them, shake them to wake them, just to make sure, obviously, that of course they'd settled after all that time of inactivity and disuse. So I had to shake them all just to make sure that they were not congealed or they'd not separated at the bottom of the bottles. So I've got 6 colours. I've got peacock feathers, I've got twisted citron, I've got fossilised amber, I've also got spiced marmalade, I've got fired brick, and the final one I've got is vintage photo. So those are going to be the colours that I'm going to be doing or using for the backgrounds of my little project. So I've got 4 pieces of card. I'm going to do 2 using cools and 2 using warms. So I'm going to start off with peacock feathers. So I'm just going to spritz over the top. Like I said, I haven't used these in absolutely ages. So that's the peacock feathers. This is the twisted citron. So we'll just add some of that onto there like so. That's it. Just encourage those colours. And then I'm going to grab my heat gun and try and dry them off without buckling my table. Okay, so that's the first 2. So we've got some nice kind of subtle backgroundy colours on that one. So I'm going to put those to one side, bring in the other 2 pieces, and I'm going to do the warms using the fired brick. That's it. Pretty much do exactly the same thing again. And then we'll use the spiced marmalade. And I think I'm going to just add a little bit of that fossilised amber, just to give it a little bit of lift. There we go. And again, get them dried off. Okay, so those red ones they've died back quite a lot, which tells me, I think, that these aren't kind of mixed quite properly just yet. And also, I dropped it, so I've got a little bit of blue contamination on that one, but I don't mind that. So I'm just going to add just a little bit more, just to give it that bit of lift. Okay, so they've gone pretty pale when you compare them to the blues and the greens. So I think what I might do is I might just introduce some of my own pigment inks and just add some of that into the mix and see what happens with that. So that was the Brilliant Red, and I do have I've got an orange, got a lemon, but there's a yellow ochre somewhere. I can find it quickly without making too much of a racket. Where's it gone? Lime green, sea green, yellow ochre. There we go. So these do need shaking up. Add a bit of that on. And they might actually work with the oxidise ink. We'll see what happens there. Just looking for a bit more depth of colour. Yeah, I think they've sunk in and they've oxidised with that, and it's kind of given me that kind of, it's almost a pastel look. So let's just have one more go with the oxide on top. And then a bit of that fossilised amber. Okay, so they've faded back a lot. So not particularly happy with those two, but that's fine. You know, we don't have to like everything every time. It looks as though they have kind of oxidised quite a lot, whereas the blues and the greens kind of not so much. But that's okay, I can live with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, put my first blue one underneath my stencil. Kind of like so. Just position it so I've got some of the nice patterning. And then I'm going to take a baby wipe, which I should have got out first of all. There we go. And then see if I can do a lift. So I'm going to hold that down and then just give that a rub over and see if we can lift some of that colour. Okay, and then get that dried off. Just a quick piece of kitchen roll. And you get a different effect. So put that one to one side, and then we'll do the same thing with the matrix piece. Do that towards the middle, and again, see if we can just straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Hold that down and then just give it a rub. Now again, you could just do this with ordinary distressing. Go over and then with your colours and then just rub through a stencil. And see what effects you get. I mean, look at that. Completely different effect. So we've got those two, so I'm just going to give that a quick clean. I've got some ordinary water. I have just some little water there. Oop. Pulled the top off and I shouldn't have done. There we go. And I'll just give that a wipe over. I'll do the same with that bamboozle one, just to kind of dab and clean off any excess. Don't forget to do underneath while it's still stuck down. Okay, so we'll now move the blue under the matrix one. Like so, and then this time I'm going to take some vintage photo and I'm just going to go over the top just lightly and do the same thing with the red on the bamboozle side. Let's try and get it. There we go. Again, just go around the middle and then lightly. There we go. So we've got two different effects, light and dark, one ghosting and one stenciling. I kind of like those, they're different. Okay, so let me have a quick tidy up and a clean up, get rid of the stencils, get them cleaned, remove those, and then we'll come back and we'll start putting our little thank you cards together. Okay, so those are the 4 pieces of watercolour cardstock that we've treated with the Distress Oxides and the sprays. What I want to do now is just to add a little bit of kind of more distress in the background. So I've got here, which is a kind of crackle stamp, and this is from Indigo Blue. This is the collector's edition number 10 Crackle, which you've got a nice kind of effect on. And I'm just going to add a little bit just in the background. Not going to go mad with it, and I don't want it too in your face. Just a little kind of crackler in the background. There we go. Just adds a little bit of vintageness. That one doesn't show very well, so let's just go back over that one. That's it. That's better. That will do. And then also, I'm just going to grab a little bit of that vintage photo and just go all the way around all 4 sides, just to kind of grunge it up a little. So I shall go away and do all 4 of these edges, and then I'll be back. Okay, so we've got all 4 of those now. So what I want to do is just add a little bit of highlight into the background of those. So I'm going to add some white gesso. If I can find my white gesso. He says he put it away somewhere, knocking his lights. There we go. We've got some Dina Wakeley Media White Gesso. So I shall just try and open that up. Now this will react to what's on these cards, but it won't react in a massive way. So what I'll do is I'll just take some of the white gesso, pop it down there. It's quite thick actually. There we go. Get some water. Mix it up, and then we can just add and just let that react. That's it. Let's get some decent sized ones on there. That'll do. Okay, let's get that dried off. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, very different, but kind of interesting because you've got that crackle, you've got the detailing from the mottling from the oxides, you've got the stenciling, and you've also got the white splatters which have reacted to the colours underneath. Even though they're not white, you can still see that they are highlights on the page or on the paper. Works better with the blue and the yellow or the green, because I suspect that those oxides they've been okay in the bottle, whereas I think the red has gone off slightly or has oxidized in the bottle. But hey ho, what can you do? Right, so what we need to do now is to bring in my pieces of cardstock. So I've got 4 black pieces that I'm going to mat these pieces onto in the background. Now when I cut them, they got a little bit of fuzz on them, but I don't mind that. I kind of like that. I could go around the edges with an emery board, but I'm not going to. And then, so what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to glue these down. I'm going to use spirit glue. Just a little bit of spirit glue. Flip that over, and then we can decide, I think, that way around. And I'm going to place it towards the top, leaving that gap at the bottom, a bit like a Polaroid photo. But I've got a use for that space there. So I'll just drop that, something heavy on there just to hold it down. So now you've seen me do that one, I'll do the same thing to all the other 3, and then I'll be back when those have dried and we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so they're pretty much dry now, so we're ready to adhere those onto the front of my card. So again, I'm going to do these so that there is a little bit of a gap, so a nice frame all the way around. And I'm just going to do exactly the same thing again, so I'm going to layer those up onto the fronts of the card and then let those dry as well. So I shall show you doing this one. Again, you could use dry glue, double-sided tape, whatever you wanted to do. So I can place that down. This gives me a little bit of wiggle room just to kind of get it level. Just like so. And then I can do the same thing to the other 3. And then once I've done that, I'll be back. The most difficult part's done now, it's just assembling them all. Okay, so those backgrounds are now stuck down onto my card fronts. So I've gone through my paper dolls collection and I've pulled out some nice characters that fit within the borders of each one. There's not that many left actually that would actually fit. There was that rather fabulous young girl there as well, but I kind of like the mix with these, so these are the ones I'm going to go with. So again, all I'm going to do is just drop a little bit of glue, being very, very careful. Just add a little bit of glue around those paper dolls. I'm not even going to bother going around darkening the edges with a pen. I'm just going to stick those down as they are. So that's the first one, and we'll put that down just in the middle, just like so. And then I shall add the others to the card fronts, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so they're all pretty much stuck down now to the front, so all I want to do is just to add a little something just in that black area on the bottom of each card. Now the best way I can think of to do that, to add a little bit of interest, is just to add one of those single word stickers from one of the Tim Holtz chit chat stickers. So I think these are the small chat ones, and I've just pulled off 4 different words which I think go with each of the images. So first one, and I've just dropped it and it's stuck down on my worktop, there we go. So the first one, this one here, can go there. This one, the word treasure, can go under there. Not quite level, that's okay. That's it. Pinch that down. If it won't stick down, I'll just add a little bit of glue underneath it. So family, treasure, and then this one we've got friendship. Again, not quite straight. Or perhaps they're not cut straight. I don't know. And then the last one, I've got memories. Can't seem to manage to get them straight, can I? But that's okay. There we go. So we've got 4 little cards there, perfect for sending out little note cards or thank you cards or whatever, using those stencils, the Distress Oxides, a stamp, and just a little bit of imagination. They don't have to be too complicated, but I think they're just plain to be kind of effective. Like those a lot, and it's a great use of those Tim Holtz paper dolls, because we've all got loads of them just lying around, I'm sure. Or you could even use cutouts from your own family photos if you haven't got any at all. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed watching me put those 4 cards together. If you did, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.